All right, what's up everybody? We're back again, back at Barton Springs. Got a little vendetta going on here. I lost a big one the other day that wasn't recording, so we're gonna try to catch a giant. This video also is gonna dive into another topic as bass fishermen that a lot of us have questions about, and that's sponsorships and how to approach companies. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that today too. We had us a good rainstorm last night. Check out all this fresh water flowing in. We got new toys today. Look at that sexy little swim bait. So we're trying to imitate a bluegill, guys. In the water, if you look at them, they tend to have a little chartreuse on their tail. So get yourself a chartreuse spike it marker. It's brand new. Take that and just color the end of the tail. You'd be surprised at how much this helps. I was fishing a tournament one time and I wasn't doing worth a crap, but the kid I was fishing with was doing pretty good, so I wanted him to do well. I asked him what he wanted to do. He took me to the area and he was getting a ton of bites, a ton of blow-ups fishing a swim bait like this, but weightless through the bush tops. And so I just told him, hey, why don't you try this chartreuse marker, put it on the tail. Sometimes that gives him a little something to hone in on too. And he was able to catch his limit and cash a check that day. So these little details like this, they can make a difference. I do it on my shad baits sometimes too, but 100% on my bluegill baits. They always get the chartreuse tail. Pro tip. Oh, he missed it. Ah! God damn it. All right, guys, so you're getting into bass fishing and you think you want to approach some sponsors. I'm going to give you some tips in this video about not only what to expect, but what they're going to expect of you. And as bass fishermen, we are terrible about following up on our end for the most part, most of us. You know, we say we're going to do this stuff, life gets busy, whatever, and you don't get done, which at the end of the day doesn't drive sales up for them. And that's what it boils down to, is they got to sell their products and they're relying on you to be their salesperson. So we're going to get more into it as we go along. We're going to try to catch us some fish right now first. In the meantime, watch this video. We went and met up with Barracuda Baits owner Jared. There's actually 3 owners. We met up with Jared. He was shooting some plastics and he talked to us a little bit about what he's doing baits, what makes their baits a little different.
Salt on the bottom.
Yeah, right. You gotta stir it back up. Smelly.
Yeah, the plastic that we use. Plastic salt, dead on plastics.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah. A lot of people like it. A lot of people prefer Calhoun's or bait plastics. There's multiple companies out there. Since I've been using dead on plastics, I've never had an issue with them at all. Yeah. So ours is a medium blend floating, so I can make it float even more. More I can make it sink. That's the reason why I like it, because it's kind of universal.
That's where your salt options come in.
That's it. Well, salt, or we actually have a floating area sinking compound.
Sure.
So.
Oh, cool.
So you feel how heavy that is.
Wow, that is a lot heavy.
Yeah, it's heavier than it looks, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Cool.
But we can put that in there if people don't want salt. If they want it to sink a little bit more, have a faster sink rate, we can do that. There's a lot of different options that you can do when you're making baits.
Yeah. And as far as those options goes, can the customer reach out and maybe a certain color they're looking at that you can try to duplicate?
All of our colors that are on our website are just basic standard colors. If anybody wants specific colors, we do color matching. We do custom colors. You tell us what you want, and we'll do it.
Cool. Perfect.
If you want scents, we've got scents. We've got scent, salt, you name it, we've got it. We even now have rattles.
And now rattles.
So
yeah, I'm excited to check those out.
This here is part of our Rattlin' Randall series performance baits. So just take one off. So you hear the
yeah, definitely hear it in there. I think that's a lot of things people forget sometimes, that fish have all the senses just like us. So if you can find something that attracts them to any of those senses, it's good for the baits.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Scent, salt for taste, rattles for noise, all that stuff.
Grab those, they're a little warm.
Cool, man. Awesome.
So one thing with our worms, I'm not going to do it to those because I'm going to let you guys have those, take them with you.
Sure.
But some other companies, I'm not going to name any names.
Sure.
But have you ever heard the term drawing the salt out of the baits?
No.
So if you take your fingers and just rub them.
Oh, yeah.
Whoops.
Okay.
And this is still a little hot, so it tears a little bit easier. When you rub it, you'll feel the salt. You can actually see it on this one. You'll see the salt coming out.
Like rubbing the end of your Cinco from the tail.
Yeah.
Like
So a lot of people think that the salt does attract fish. I'm a firm believer that it does too. So, but when you do that, they get the salt taste. They try to bite down on it even more. Some companies, when you do that, that bait is just going to crumble. And ours, once they cure, cool, the durability on those, you're going to get bit 4, 5, 6 times and not have to replace one.
Perfect. So, yeah, that is one thing about a super soft bait, is it might only be worth a fish.
Yes.
So
I'm going to use this one as an example. No salt content in this. This is our Bomber's Rub. No salt, no softener. This is just straight plastic salt coloring in the flake that's in there. So just pulling it. So I'll let you try it. So you can just see the durability on it.
that's a pretty good stretch. Yeah, before it finally rips.
Yeah,
it's solid.
So, and you can always snip the tip down if you wanted to
use it again.
And throw them on a jig.
that one.
Yeah, jig strap.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's one thing that we pride ourselves on our baits is the durability, because I want people to not have to keep buying more and more and more and more. Although it'd be nice if they buy more and more and more of our baits, but
It's a catch-22.
it is. But durability is where we set our preference at. So, got a little bluegill color right here. And we're going to do these in a 3.2 inch rip red. These work good on a umbrella rig. Rig.
A little custom mix, or is this the standard bluegill color on the
This is
side?
the standard bluegill.
Gotcha. Cool.
This is a custom color.
Cool.
That is called the bluegill flash.
Oh, nice. And what tackle store did you say that was?
Lake Fork Tackle Shack.
Lake Fork Tackle Shack.
Yes, sir.
And is that custom for them, or that's their custom color
They
that
asked
you can
for
get?
it, and I made it for them.
Awesome.
We don't have it on our website, but
So if you want
because
it,
we are a custom bait manufacturer. If you want it, just let us know, and we will make it.
gotcha. Cool. Anything else you want to talk about as far as this bait stuff goes that maybe you want people out there to know?
Yeah. I mean, we're just a veteran-owned company. The three amigos, the 3 J's. Jeff and Jared. I'm retired Army. Jeff Graham, he's retired Navy, and Jeff Jones, retired Air Force. So we just want to work with people, and we're not in competition with the big companies, but we're in competition for anglers, nationwide or even overseas. We've actually had people from Japan, pick up some of our baits, and Mexico too. So,
Cool.
but yeah.
Just love fishing.
Love
making baits.
Love making baits. Color options are unlimited, so
Yeah.
I mean, hell, we're always messing around trying to find stuff to make. So.
All right, man. Cool. We're not sponsored by Barracuda Baits. We just put a post out on Facebook looking for some local Texas companies to support. Their name came up, they followed me on TikTok. So I just reached out and asked if we could come visit him, see his shop and see what they do. And he was more than happy to have us come to the shop and talk to him. So guys, have you already seen in the video when I put chartreuse on the tail? This is a pretty awesome 5-inch swim bait. If I remember right, Jared said this one is not on the website yet, or was pulled. I can't remember exactly what he told me, but if you guys reach out and you actually do like this, I'm sure you can make it happen for you. It looks amazing in the water. I'm gonna try to get some underwater shots of it later once the sun comes up. But we're gonna give it a fling. I got it on a 1/8 ounce 4-aught owner twist lock, I think is what it is. See what happens. And the first thing that I think is important when it comes to even considering sponsorship is, do you use the product? A lot of people and companies, they put out these pro staff applications, apply now, and you get a lot of people, but you get a lot of people that are just in it for the discount, things like that. Don't be that person. I've been that person, guilty. Know a little bit about the product first. As I was saying, I was so rudely interrupted by a dying GoPro battery. Know your company. Even if you want to be part of it and you want to do that little pro staff agreement, get a bait first, buy a couple, make sure that it's something you actually like and feel like you're going to be able to promote well, that fits your fishing style, that maybe your audience is going to like. Make sure that that's part of it. Another thing, guys, when it comes to wanting to be sponsored, be realistic in your expectations. If you've got 50 followers on Instagram, you're not all of a sudden ready to be a paid angler. You know, you're gonna have to start out at this discount level. You know, you're gonna get discounts on the products, and they're gonna want you to prove yourself. And I think a lot of people, this is where we fail, is we do not promote well enough to drive sales. That means you need to be posting products on your Instagram page. If you've got a YouTube, you need to be doing videos about that bait. You got to give them a showcase. You have to do stuff in order to drive sales. And to be honest, driving sales with 50 Instagram followers is going to be hard. Half of them probably are spam follows, and the other half, you know, it's family. They're not even buying the lures anyway. So you got to do yourself a solid here and be realistic about what you're going to get. And then you got to work. You got to put in the work. And I've been bad about this, and I know a lot of people have. And in talking to companies, this is probably the biggest gripe, is you just don't do enough. You don't do enough. You don't drive sales, you know. So why would we bother? You know, if somebody gives you $100 worth of free stuff, they need to make $400 or so off of you to recoup their losses, because it's not just about the $100 in baits, it's about they lost money in market value. They could have sold those baits, which in turn made more baits, which in turn made more baits, and at the end of the day it's like 4 times or something, depends on the company. But so you got to be able to produce. So if you're wanting them to pay you thousands of dollars a year, you got to do many more thousands of dollars a year in sales than what they're paying you. Another thing when it comes to trying to be sponsored, build a relationship. You know, try to find a company that's local. Try to find you know, somebody that you can actually talk to. If you're going after the Pure Fishings of the world, yeah, that's fine, and maybe you can get that. But you know, I can speak from experience. The bigger the sponsor, the smaller of a spec that you can tend to be. You know, if you're out there being sponsored by some of these big companies and they've got, you know, Ken Van Dam, Mike Iaconelli, all these guys, you know, chances are their piece of the pie is already going to be accounted for forever. So if you can find somebody local that you can build a relationship with, and maybe you guys can grow together, that's a good place to start. It's a good place to look. And again, you know, it's not about what they can do for you. Yeah, that's what you need. But really, if you want sponsorships, it's about what you can do for them. Tips, guys, for if you do get sponsored and you are out there putting in work and you're looking for maybe a bait shop or something to sell your tackle, do a little research on that bait store. Don't just go to any old bait store and try to put the products in there, because if the bait store has a bad, or if your sponsor has a bad experience with the bait store, it's a possibility it could reflect on you. So you want to make sure that the bait stores that you're recommending are actually of a high quality as well, and it's not going to bring a burden to you after the fact. Ask me how I know. You know, where to begin when it comes to companies. Reach out to the marketing department of any company that you're thinking of and ask for a contact. Most of them will give them to you. The bigger the company, the harder it's going to be to get a hold of somebody, obviously. And ask them what their conditions are, ask them what they're looking for, and start building that rapport with them. You know, if there's little shows in your area, if you're one of those people that can make it to the Bassmaster Classic or something, you know, talk to people. Do not go to the Bassmaster Classic asking for sponsors. Like, that's that's not how that works. But you can go to these events and you can make connections. And this fishing industry, from what I've heard and what I've seen, it's very small. You get people that kind of go between companies worker wise, and you know, maybe somebody that you meet that was working for XYZ Baits is now working for ABC Baits, and the ABC Baits is looking for somebody, and that's what you already throw, and you kind of just fall right into it. So just make some connections, and reach out to the marketing people. Start building that relationship. So the pros, guys, of being sponsored obviously is, you know, free baits, discounted baits, boats, maybe even getting paid. Obviously, that's why we all do it. You know, we all want to be out here getting paid to do what we love, you know, or at least, you know, kind of being like a drug addict. You at least sell enough to support your habit, right? Pro number two, I mean, it is kind of cool. It's cool for the ego to know that, you know, you've got a sponsor and that you're a good enough fisherman that they see something in you, and salesmen, they see something in you to promote their products. So that's also a cool thing. People look at you a little bit different, you know, you seem to carry a little bit of a luster around you. Some of the cons of being sponsored, again, is you got to work. It's not out here for free, and I don't know if that's necessarily a con, but I think a lot of people just assume that because they put a sticker on their car or on their jersey that that's enough, and that just ain't enough. Con number two is they're going to ask you to do stuff, and they might ask you to do stuff at a time when you maybe already have plans, or you're wanting to do something else, and you're going to have to go to work for them. So, you know, it's fun and all that stuff, but you know, they're gonna expect some things out of you as well. Con number three is, like I said, you need to be using their products, and if you're not, and you want to use other things, you know, you kind of put yourself in a little bit of a pickle. So if you just want to have free reign on all the tackle and everything in the world, then just don't even bother. Don't even bother being sponsored. Just go buy your own tackle, and if you want to get paid, find another avenue to do it, because you really need to be using what they're selling. Again, nobody likes somebody that is like, oh hey, I caught him on this, and you hear him tell a guy later on the boat ramp, I didn't catch him on that, I caught him on such and such, and you know, they were just doing a sponsor plug. It's, you know, it's what gives us anglers a bad name, is all that deception and horse shit, you know, and it needs to go away. Really want to catch a fish on this swim bait, because I feel like it's going to be a giant. Along those lines as well, make sure you're using the sponsors' baits. Don't go to a tournament or something and win on a Senko and then turn around and say you were throwing somebody else's stick bait. Maybe people don't know, but quite frankly, that's just a shitty human being thing to do. Be honest. Don't be a liar. Oh guys, we've been at it all day. It has been a grind. Barton was blown out, really muddy water. Couldn't get a bite there, so we drove to a different pond we'd never been to. You couldn't really get to it. So we're back at Hillside just trying to get a bite, and that was the first fish we've caught all day. It's been a grind, but a little swim bait looks real good in the water, and he really thumped it. All right guys, that's that. I hope you liked the video. Got to introduce you to a new company, local here in Texas. Give them a shout. They're making some pretty cool stuff. And I hope you like my insight on sponsorship and approaching companies. You know, that's why I did this video, is to show you that you can reach out to a company, get introduced, and you start trying baits. You know, and that's what you should do. You should go out and try these things first, and start building some relationships, like I said. So if you have any questions, if you have any comments, experiences, hit it up down below in the comments. You know, let's get a forum going and talk about these kind of things, because so many times in this industry things aren't talked about, and it becomes a surprise when you get there and you find out what's really going on. So we'll see you guys at the next one. Peace.